We need the US and we need the Anglo Saxon Western alliance to be strong. That doesn't come with Keir Starmer, and it doesn't come with Kamala Harris, who looks to Brussels. So we do, just as, if we're British and we care about this country, we want Trump to win.
Let's talk about Starmer, because I think you're always spot on, in my opinion. But where you're really spot on here is I look at them. And I'm not sticking up for the Tories or Reform or anybody. I look at this Labour Party. I've heard about the nanny state. Before I went away, they tried to screw pensioners. Whilst I'm away, the budget was an absolute... 41 billion. They're screwing farmers. Yesterday or today, they're raising student tuition fees. A direct opposite to what he said he'd do in his leadership campaign in 2020. I don't think that the Labour Party... I'm so with you. I don't think they like being British. I don't think they like anything about the United Kingdom. And that's why, and I said this to somebody the other day, and they were like, that, oh, my God. That's why some days I wake up and say, I wish we had somebody like bloody Donald Trump in this country who would, despite criticism from the woke left, would grab the bull by the horns and say, I don't care if this hacks you off. I'm going to make this country secure. I'm going to make sure that law and order is dealt with by having policemen and women on the streets. I'm going to secure our borders and make sure that actually those pensioners, right, those pensioners get looked after, not people who can arrive here on a boat. And what do we hear from Keir Starmer today? He's going to renegotiate the Brexit deal to tackle the migrant channel crisis. It's almost as if this man has no understanding of what this country is for or about or wants. And that frightens me, Ben, because he's the Prime Minister, for God's sake.
It is desperately frightening that we have a Prime Minister who's inherently anti-British.
Yeah.
I mean, we should all be petrified by that. And this idea that he's going to renegotiate the Brexit deal with greater intelligence cooperation and thereby put the United Kingdom in charge of breaking the people smuggling gangs is just for the birds. What he's actually doing is using the pretext of the people smuggling gangs as a mechanism to embed the United Kingdom into the intelligence apparatus of the European Union. We tend to think of cooperation as if it's nation states coming together on an equal basis as independent countries negotiating the exchange of information. That's not what happens with the EU. With the EU, you have Brussels in charge. It takes all the information. It then decides what it's going to do with the information. And it normally, or probably exclusively, uses that information for the advancement of its own political aims.
Of course it does.
When he embeds the UK into the intelligence network of Europe, he's effectively giving over our own independent intelligence. And that's what he's going to do with our military as well. NATO is a collaboration between nation states making their own decisions. PESCO, which is the European Union equivalent, is nation states effectively coming under the direction of Brussels. And Starmer wants to take us into PESCO. And
I thought, I'm sorry, I'm obviously saying the wrong thing here, but I thought we voted by 52% to 48, however many years ago, whether it was implemented or not and whether there were mistakes. I thought, and I could be missing the point, that a majority of the British electorate voted, but all the bedwetters say to me every day, yeah, but they wouldn't vote for that now. Well, that's a referendum, mate. Listen, it frightens me. It frightens me that one of his MPs, I mean, to me, this is really interesting, right? We've missed you, Jezza, says Clive in Solihull. Can you imagine the uproar if a Tory MP had said what Dawn Butler had said about a Labour MP? Double standards from two-tick here again. What an absolute shower this government is. Just to remind ourselves, Dawn Butler, a black, successful left-wing MP, said about Kemi Badenoch that she's an absolute prime example of white supremacy and blackface. I mean, there would be bloody uproar, wouldn't there?
There would be, but of course, Keir Starmer took the knee to BLM, didn't he?
Yeah.
Keir Starmer buys into that extreme, I think what Suella Braverman described as a single-issue, left-wing, terroristic organisation. And that's what he does. So he doesn't care that Dawn Butler has absolutely crossed the line. Dawn Butler has nothing to offer this country other than division in the way that she describes. She sees everything through identity politics. She's not about meritocracy. She's not about putting forward ideas that are going to be better for her constituents and better for her, for the people of this country and therefore the country itself. She is all about identity politics, trading on it, the victimhood of being black. the victimhood of being from an ethnic minority. And she can't deal with the fact that actually that victimhood narrative is rubbished by the fact that you've got a leader of the Conservative Party who's a black woman. And so in order to...
A woman and a black woman from a party that has lost touch with the people. Let's just get this absolutely right, because I don't remember the Labour Party ever voting in a female leader or a black female leader who's not... I don't understand it. Dawn Butler should be censured, absolutely censured.
She should be removed from the Labour Party. She should never be anywhere near it again. And the other thing Dawn Butler can't stand is that Kemi Badenoch couldn't give a damn about identity politics. It's an affront to her because she wants all ethnic minorities to see themselves as victims. And
of course, Kemi doesn't do that now. You and I perhaps wouldn't be on the same page as Kemi Badenoch right now, but to have risen to where she's risen as a black woman who came to this country from Nigeria and doesn't and would never use that excuse, that's what infuriates people like Dawn Butler, because it runs against everything that they make their lives about, doesn't it? That's the point.
Absolutely. And the narrative of victimhood, the narrative identity politics is so divisive. Yeah. It's not progressive discrimination on its own. It's progressive discrimination with a massive dose of division. Progressive discrimination actually always comes with division, but Dawn Butler manages to take it to a completely different level. And what we've got to learn in this country is that there can be no regulation, no law, and no narrative that gives rise to progressive discrimination, which effectively is discrimination against the majority. And someone like Dawn Butler should be absolutely nailed, not just for those comments, but for her entire ideology, which is so awful. It's just got to stop.
Completely agree. Ben, you know me, I could talk to you forever, pal. It's great to have you on. We'll talk later in the week. When will it be? Donald Trump? Will it be Kamala Harris?